And this is the thing. It goes back to like you don't need your friends to win in life. Like you don't. Like you can win through the love of people that don't know you from anywhere. And you know what? Another thing I think that we've seen in life is like I use rappers for example. A lot of them get the most hate from their hometown,
Mm.
and they get the most love overseas when they go and start visiting different places that are just unknown to them. Welcome to the Goodman Factory podcast. Rizzy here. I'm joined by Aaron and Mike. Today we're going to discuss brotherhood and talk about the importance of keeping great men around you. Let's go. So guys, growing up, talk to me. Like, what kind of people did you surround yourself with? Are you still with the same people today? Who were you inspired by growing up?
Wait, me? I grew up on an estate, so um, I remember there was like my boy, like Sean, that was shouting out, but we was like the same age, and like we were like probably the oldest in the group that we hung around with. The rest were like a couple years younger, but there was like quite a lot of us. But I didn't really hang around with people older than me until probably like late late school years, probably like actually 17, 18. I then started to hang around with older people because that was through college and stuff like that. But from young, I was probably one of the oldest in my circle. Um, but I think when you're young, you're just focusing on like just having fun in it. Like when I was young, it was like playing 40-40 runouts. So like it was anyone that was up for that. But then as you get older, you're then more, I guess, attracted to in terms of your circle. Who's doing what? What can people bring to you? What can people bring you into or whatever? So yeah, younger, I think as a younger me, I was just focused on who can I have fun with. And then as you get older, you realize where what men are doing certain things. Do you feel me?
100%. I said, me personally, I think it was similar to what you just said. When I was younger, it was more about just having fun people around me or people that can sprint and play football.
Yeah,
That was about it. But I feel like as you get older, you have different circles for different things. So if you do want to go party, you have the party batch. If you do want to talk about business, you have the business batch. You start to build this as you network when you get older. So I realized that my friends from college are completely different from my friends from, let's say, from the area, because I grew up in an estate as well. And my friends from uni are also different from the friends from the area or college. So I had different circles, and it just depends on where I'm trying to go, and that would almost like, or what I'm trying to do at that current time in my life will attract me to certain groups. So I feel like I need different groups, and I have the inner circle where it's my main guys that I can always, I don't know, tell about my issues or give me solutions to stuff or even talk about money and all the rest of it. And then I have everyone else in different groups, if that makes sense. I don't know if everyone else does it like that, but I feel like it made sense, and it still makes sense to me to have an inner circle and then different circles.
See, when you was in school, yeah, did you have? Because I feel like in school there was cliques, right? And not everyone would intertwine. You had that. I felt like I was one of the boys that could mix with this group and that group, but certain people in those groups didn't mix with each other. I feel like that was key to me as I grew up as well, being able to adapt to different environments.
I'm exactly the same as you. So I was cool with everyone in school. Like there wasn't a circle that I couldn't have a conversation with or chill with. So, but at the time, it felt like, who do I belong to? But now I've grown up and looking back, it makes sense why I'm the person that I am today, where I'm able to adapt and put myself in different rooms with different types of people. So yeah.
I was going to
What
say
about you, Matt?
that's a good skill to learn. It's helped me in terms of my progress and my development as a young man into a slightly older man now. But yeah, no, I think you learn that skill from early. You learn how to adapt, and like you're saying, there are certain cliques in school that you didn't want to be associated with or look like you're part of. But I was so comfortable and confident enough to approach those people and still make them part of, why, like, just join this circle or just come and like play with us and all the rest of it. So I was always that guy as well. So I feel like it did help. It's made me who I am today, to be fair. And I feel like it's a good skill to have.
You know what I think was important as well. I was talking to Amari about this. Is that when you're in school, you feel like these are gonna be my boys for life. Yeah. And you feel this attachment to them, and then like, because I'm always saying to Amari, look, when you was in primary school, you was with a certain group of friends, right? And you was kind of like swayed by what that group was doing. But where's that group now? You got a whole new group. Now you're in secondary school. Don't be too comfortable with these people because you probably are only going to stay in touch with a few of them. And I think sometimes we lack to be loyal to groups of people that we're not going to necessarily be with later in life.
Do you know what? I think it's so good that you mentioned that, because I look back at the people that I was friends with in primary school and secondary school, and I don't know where they are today. And it makes me, and when I see people that have been friends with, like, this has been my right hand since primary school, I'm like, wow,
Wow,
like,
yeah.
how did you do that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, it's nice to think, rah, like this is the same person that I grew up with from day
Back then.
one, and we're still in each other's lives today. Like, this is my right hand till this day. I think that's a blessing. But unfortunately, I just don't relate to that. Like, I feel like every stage in life, whether that's primary school, secondary school, university, the people that I spend most of my time with have always changed, because I feel like over time we all go down different paths, and I don't know, for some reason I've just not been able to maintain a long-standing relationship with someone from the past who's just in a different path in life to me. So I tend to move like a wolf pack, like with people that are doing similar things to me.
Like-minded, yeah.
But what does that say about me? I don't know. Because I feel like you should be able to maintain a friendship or with someone, even if you're like in different paths in life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Like,
I've just not been able to do that.
I've got friends I've known since primary school, but I've also gone to secondary school with them, and then I was also in college with them. So our paths kind of followed each other.
Right.
I think if you are in primary school with someone and then go to different secondary schools and whatever, and you still manage to like stay connected, that's amazing. Like, I've got a few of those, but they're not like people I roll with. And I think as you go through life, you build up a kind of like a phone book of people that you maybe class as like close friends, like you said, like your inner circle, your associates, work colleagues. Do you know what I mean? You have different groups of people that you can connect to. But I think that's important.
So you know your circle today, like who are those people? Like, where did they come from? And what keeps you together?
You know what? I roll pretty solo, you know.
Literally, I was gonna say it's without offending some of my friends. Without offending some of my
You're
friends.
one of your boys is like, Mike.
Yeah, like I thought I was your boy, bro. Like, yeah, you're still my boy, but I'm very, not that I isolate myself, but sometimes I do the most growth when I'm by myself. Anyway, my inner circle is probably the guys that I went to either school with or I lived in the area with, because we went through everything together. I know, like you guys, that not everyone's on the same path. So obviously you can still feel the difference or the distance between some of us. But we do try once in a while, like on Sunday, or no, on Saturday, we're gonna go karting. But
Okay.
it's been a long time coming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you were saying, Aaron, it's I like to roll by myself sometimes. I just do a lot of like growth and a lot of development by myself. But the main circle is the people that I've literally grown up with, but not from early, from when I don't remember and it's all fun. But when the serious stuff happened or when the stressful stuff happened, those are the guys I'm in the circle.
Right, when I think about that, I'm like, so I've got my boys that I'll speak to now and again, but it's hard to meet up sometimes. But what's crazy is I've known you, man, for what, about a year now? Probably about a year. And I'll probably say I've met up with you lot more over the past year than I have my actual people that I've known for time before that. And that to me is because we're on the same wave. Like, I'm about growing right now. I'm about expanding. I'm about, do you know what I mean? Like, And that whole wording of like no new friends, like when that song came on, no new friends, I was
Yeah.
like, that to me is so dead. Like, because you man have been new friends and helped elevate me so much. And I think it's so important that you're open to meeting new people and having new people around you, but the energy's got to be right. I'm an energy person. But yeah, in terms of who I roll with, like I'll probably say solo 90% of the time. I meet up with you man on a regular, well, however often we shoot. And it's a small, to be in my circle, it's an honor. That's how you got to look at it though.
Yeah.
You've got to look at, for people to actually be connected and associated with you, to be able to say, yeah, that's my boy. Like, that's got to be a privilege.
They're more like brothers, like my younger brother, of course, and I have that little circle of friends that are close to my brother, and I see as brothers as well. And it's mainly family, but when I say family, my family is quite small. So I have my cousins and my auntie and some in Nigeria, but it's my mum and my brother. They're the most important, if that makes sense. And obviously my sons. But in terms of friends, that people that are not related, it's it's a hard one. You're saying, like you said, it's almost like a privilege to be part of this select group of people.
Because it's a reflection of you.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
definitely.
mean? If you're rolling with the wrong people, like people are gonna think, if they do a madness, people are gonna think you was there even if you weren't there. So I think it's so important that you're aware of like who you're connected to.
I know you're enjoying this conversation, but I'm here to remind you that this episode is sponsored by Goodman Beard Oil, plant-based, chemical-free beard oil to soften and moisturize your facial hair. Order now, goodmanfactory.com, and use code GPOD1 and become a good man today. Yeah. So how do you find a nice balance? Because I'm similar to you. So a lot of the people I spend most of my time with, I've realized are people that I work with, or I'm we're doing something together. Like we're moving towards something,
Business,
which I
almost,
think
isn't
is very important. But then, do you ever look at the people around you and think, it's because we have a mutual goal? If it wasn't for that, would we be together? How do you look at it? How do you perceive it? How do you feel that you don't spend as much time with the people from the past? Do you then think, am I a bad friend for that?
No, you know what it is? I'm the type of person, yeah, that I've always said I want an Aaron in my life. I've always been like, you know, I need an Aaron, you know, because I can be called on at any moment. Like my peoples can call on me at any moment, and if I can get to you, I'll get to you. I'll find a way. But in terms of like, I just think it's about I'm okay being on my own, and my time, the free time I have is so small anyway that it can be hard to connect with. If I'm like I'm only free on Friday, certain people aren't free when I'm free. So do you know what I'm saying? It's I feel like as I've gotten older, I know we're talking about brotherhood here, but because I'm so comfortable being on my own, like whereas before, back in the day, I wanted to be in big groups. I said to Amari, I done a video of Amari the other day, and I said to him, when you're in school, you're part of a gang. Like you go chicken shop in a gang. You get on the bus in a gang. Like you got like 10 of you rolling deep, and you become so used to that that when it's taken away from you and you're now on your own, you feel lost. And you can then attach yourself to any kind of group just to feel that again.
Yeah.
I do believe some of the best things happen to you when you're on your own, but doesn't that reflect what they're saying about men in today's society? A lot of men feeling lonely, like they have no one to speak to, or a lot of the times when they're alone, it puts them into slight depression because they feel like, I spend a lot of time by myself. Do you ever get like that when you spend a lot of time alone, where you think to yourself, I feel a bit lonely, I wish someone was here?
Yeah, I would say in the past I used to feel lonely, like I need to associate or attach myself to this group or my friends that I've known, even if it's not the right thing for me at that time. I feel as I've got older, is I've been more comfortable in being in my own space. But in terms of men just being depressed in general, I think it's because there was a stigma with men sharing how they felt. But like platforms like this, and a few more platforms that are popping up all over the place, it's become more comfortable for men to, even if they don't even know us now, we're going to get some men probably like contact us and say, you know what you said about Brotherhood and being in like by yourself and all the rest of it, I could relate to, and I appreciate what you guys are saying. So in terms of me though, I was a bit lonely when I was younger. When I didn't have my big groups of friends around me, but I learned as I got older that I've done the most growth being by myself. But there's still, we're social beings. We need to be around people. Like even if it's only a small amount of the time, we still need to associate or be around other people and just socialize, if that makes sense. It doesn't always have to be about business, and it doesn't always have to be about fun. But as long as you're interacting with other people, whether it's family, friends, or just random people, a networking event, I feel like it has its benefits in a sense. I think it is needed.
Let me ask you, man, a question. What are you like when it comes to cutting people off?
Like
In
boundaries.
terms of, do you have people that have been in your circle that you're like, you know what, I've had to cut off these people?
Most definitely.
Serious?
Yeah.
What's made you make that decision, and how have you gone about it?
The moment that I realised that the person's toxic or they're detrimental to my growth, that's when I'm like, no, like cut the head off the snake now, before it gets worse. Especially like with what I've witnessed, I've seen people keep people around them for way too long, longer than they should. And then it's like, it's just cost them so much. And then they look back and think, I saw all the signs, I should have done this earlier. And like in my case, with people I've had to cut off completely, I've seen so many signs. But you know when you're so loyal to people that you take the torture. I think an act of self-love is like to
Not
just cut
Not
someone
be
off.
afraid to cut someone
Yeah,
off.
because you know, for the benefit of yourself, like that's the highest form of self-love, and that goes for like relationships or like just men in your circle. Like if you feel like there's someone who's just holding you down, or they're just like progressing you, preventing you from progressing, yeah, you just have to let go of them.
I was going to say, just to add on to that, it comes with age and maybe maturity and experience. Because when I was younger, like you said, you see the signs or you see the red flags and you pretend they're yellow or amber. So they're not really red. I'll let that one slide. And then as you get older, you just don't have time for that. I just don't. It's not helping with the direction I'm going in, or it's not helping with my general well-being. It's detrimental to my progress and my health and my stress levels. I don't need to be a part of that, and you can just shut it down. I'm better at being assertive with that now than I was, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, because them times I would let people just get away with it. People walk all over me or just take advantage in a sense, and it was just, but I was gaining nothing from it. But
You know what's mad? Like,
it
when
comes
we're
with
talking
age.
about that, it's like being in a relationship with a female,
Definitely,
almost.
100%.
Like, because people stay in man-woman relationships for years when it's so toxic.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily connect it to where you could have relationships with like people in your circle that you also need to identify as toxic or not adding value. And I've never really looked at it until you lot was talking. I was like, rare. That's like a man and a woman's relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like, you know, there's a saying, I think Malik said it to me, that there's basically like something along the lines of there's no point being loyal to a fool. And sometimes loyalty, you can be loyal to your day ones, the people that have been there for you, but you could be loyal to someone who's preventing you from further growth, or just because of the way they are. And another thing is, like, I believe the people you spend most of your time with, you then start to adopt their ideas and values.
100%.
And if you know there's someone in your circle that you don't align with, but you're loyal to each other because of the time that you've known each other, then how do they affect your way of thinking?
I've always said, like, years of service don't count for nothing.
Nothing.
Like, we've got to stop. Like, you know what? Yeah, that's my boy for 10 years though. Yeah, or I've been with her for 5 years, and we focus on the length of time as if it means something. I've said this before. Like, we could join a company. Yeah, we could go into a company tomorrow. Yeah, and be there for a month. and know more within that month than someone that's been there for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the person that's been there for 5 years, you would just assume, you know what,
You should, yeah.
like he should know all of this, because we look at length of time as meaning something. Like, you can't be loyal to someone because of the
The
length
time.
of service, because you're only like you're probably going to allow so much nonsense to happen. And you see it all the time, like girls with their man, like, oh, we've been together for 2 years though, and then 2 years become 3 years, so it's even harder now because there's that extra year.
Yeah.
With your boys as well, oh, but I've known him since I was 15. But if you need to break free, because what's another 15 years wasted when that person's affecting you in a negative way?
I perceive time to be an illusion. So, for quite a long time ago, I got to the point in life where I felt like the length of time that I've known someone doesn't change nothing. In fact, I think familiarity breeds disrespect. I think when people have known you for a long time, they're more likely to take the piss out of you because they know that you ain't going nowhere. Like, we're in each other's lives. But I think
stuck here basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people take advantage of that loyalty, like, because I've known you, or we're family, or we're family friends, like, you're not going nowhere, like, I can abuse you. But no, like, I think an act of self-love is to just cut ties completely. Like, it shows how much you love yourself when you do that.
What do you think about people actually supporting you? Like, you started a brand, and like even you with trimming hair and stuff like that. Did you notice that it was people in your actual circle that was supporting you the most? Because on my platform, it's actually strangers that have actually probably supported me the most when I've looked at my boys and that, and I'm like, where they don't even follow me, or they don't even comment, they don't share, they don't like, and I'm like, where?
Do you know what? And this is the thing. Like, I think it goes back to like the mindset that I've got. I've got such a, I've adopted this like abundance mindset, and I really believe in like the human race, like us connecting as beings, and just us like expressing love for people that are outside your family. And one thing that I've realized, like starting businesses or creating brands or creating a project that you need, where you need people, is that you get a lot of support from strangers, which I love. And I find that interesting. I don't understand the science behind it, but strangers show a lot of love and appreciation for what you do. Friends too, but not all friends. Sometimes we have the expectation that because you're my friend, you should support me. But I got rid of that a long time ago. I don't expect no support from family members and friends. If they support me, that's a bonus. I appreciate it, but I don't expect it, because I think that there's a lot of heartbreak that comes from realizing that the people around you that you're friends with don't show any interest to what you do, which is fine. Maybe they're just genuinely not interested. I've got people around me that do things that I have no interest in. Like, and I think to myself, how can I support you? Like, but I'm the type of person to share someone's content, or maybe I don't align with the content that you're making, where I don't agree with that, so I'm not gonna share it. So I try not to get too invested into this person's not supporting me, because abundantly you don't need their support.
Yeah.
You can
You
still
make
win
it
without
regardless.
support.
It's a scale anyway.
Aaron, raising boys to men, proof of that. Like, the reach that you get on social media, is that because your friends push your stuff, or is it just strangers that genuinely support your stuff?
Literally, people like Birmingham has been an area that I don't live in Birmingham. I'm not even from Birmingham, but they've just shown me so much love,
There you go.
and that's just out of nowhere.
And this is the thing. It goes back to, like, you don't need your friends to win in life. Like, you don't. Like, you can win through the love of people that don't know you from anywhere. And you know what? Another thing I think that we've seen in life is, like, I use rappers for example. A lot of them get the most hate from their hometown, and they get the most love overseas when they go and start visiting different places that are just unknown to them. They're like, wow, I'm so surprised by the amount of love I'm receiving here.
And what's the science behind that as well? I just feel like just going off the point you were trying to make as well, and sorry, the point that you made is we shouldn't be attached to this person owes me their loyalty and owes me the share and the like and the push in my business. They don't owe you nothing.
Nothing.
Everything has to be earned, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, if it's my son starting a business at 16, I'm going to promote it. When it gets to 18 or 21, bro, that's you. That's you. You know what I mean? I'll help
Straight.
you. I'll buy your first product.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not going to be daddy. That's the one that's going to make your business scale in a sense. Is how good your product is, how good the brand is, how you've, let's say, advertised it and all the rest of it. You've pushed it out there, and now the love of strangers to that, or the loyalty of the strangers to your product, have now pushed it and scaled it to a point where it's now a big brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If it's only the people around you, that's. I'll use myself as an example. When I was cutting hair, I did get my friends push me cutting hair as a mobile barber to certain people around London. But if they stopped advertising and I'm not getting enough love from the people outside that circle, it's just I'm cutting the same people, if that makes sense, just
It's
my
that
friends.
rotation. Yeah.
That's the thing. So if I wasn't if I wasn't reliant on just that, and I started, let's say, people loved my service and they know pushing it out from just the love of, oh, I love the way Michael cuts hair, it would have scaled
It
to a
goes
point
more.
where I couldn't even cut that many heads anymore. I have to employ people to now do the mobile barbering.
No,
If that makes
definitely.
sense.
Do you know what? I feel like the illusion of having your friends support you can make you feel like you're doing well too. So when I genuinely think when you create something or you start something like a project and you get the support from the people around you, that only lasts for a while. After a while, they're gonna get tired of support, like pushing your stuff. Then the question is, do people actually like what you do, or is it support? And I would want people to genuinely like what I create or what I'm doing, than just because you're my friend, I'm gonna share it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
That's true, man. It's true. It's a hard one, isn't it?
And to prevent the heartbreak as well. I think it's truly heartbreaking when you've got someone around you that you love, that you see as a friend, and they don't support your stuff. Like,
Expectations is
the
different.
expectation, but that's a me problem. That's me that had that expectation for that person to do it. Because I feel like if you were the one doing it, I would support you. But that's the expectations we put on people.
You know, one thing I've realized as well, me personally, like in terms of my circle, since becoming a father as well, like I don't know if you've done this, I'm more mindful of like how other fathers are acting.
Right.
So like, if I feel that someone in my circle is like a deadbeat dad,
Associate,
I
yeah.
can't associate with that.
That says a lot about the type of person you are, though. Like, you are a community guy, and I think you're just very mindful of how other people move around you. But a lot of people aren't like that.
They don't really care.
But that's what it comes down to
It's
account.
not my child.
People
It's
in
not
your
me.
circle, though, I feel like should hold you accountable,
Definitely.
and you should be able to hold them accountable.
This is why I make sure it's very important for me to keep people around me that hold me accountable. Like, I've got family members and friends that they'll tell me, "Oh, Riz, you know you was moving a bit mad there." I'm like, "Swear? No, you was moving mad." I need people like that around me, because how do I improve in all areas of my life? If I just keep yes men around me that just want to tell me what I want to hear, then I'm just stagnant. I'm like, I'm not improving. You're like,
You get too comfortable.
yeah.
You're almost destined to fail if you're not making any progress.
So I need people that are gonna challenge me slightly. Like, I don't want to just have yes men around me. What about you?
For me, I've cut a few people like off because it's not even like I've announced, you know what, I'm cutting you off, you know, like that. I'm not announcing it, but I've just seen certain people's energy, or people are doing things that I don't agree with, and I will always try and guide people and be like, you know what, have you thought of it like this? But if I feel like me helping you isn't helping you, yeah, like I've tried, but you're not even listening to me, I have to step away. Like, but I won't step away without trying to help someone first. If I feel like someone's falling off the wagon, or they're slacking, or you know what, they're not looking after their children the way they probably should look after their children, I will have that conversation with them, but I'm not gonna keep having that conversation with them. You know what?
It's tiring.
Do what you're doing, but because I look at it as if people are looking at you as a group and they be like, oh, that man's a deadbeat dad, you know, oh, that's a deadbeat dad as well. Then they're gonna think the third man with them, oh, he must be the same, because you must have the mindset in common. And like, no, I'm just not a fan of.
Impossible, I can say. I actually look at like you said, other dads, and others think, bro, what are you doing?
Well, give me examples. I'm trying to think of the things that you guys witnessed. That you're like,
So let me I'll use fatherhood as an example. So now I've got my second son, and I'm very mindful of not leaving my first son because we don't have this. He doesn't have the same mum.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave him out. But I do speak to other people that have their baby dads, or they do have their children's dads around, but they're not doing as much, or they look at me as an example and say, why is mine not the same? But I've also seen examples of dads that are just not, let's say, seeing their kids as much and go, "Oh, I can't bothered." The can't be
Yeah.
bothered attitude for me really bothers me.
It's
well, they
not-
genuinely say that they cannot
It
be
can't
bothered.
bothered. It's just not. It doesn't go with. I need to play football for like, for example, or no, she's trying to use that as a punishment, for example. But bro, you've seen your kid once that week. You're just asking for twice in a week, and you're saying it's too much.
That's
Come on, bro. You remember, you're not doing it to spite the other parent. You're doing it to, what's it called? Build a bond with your child, boy or girl, doesn't matter. But you know what I mean? And it just, I can't associate my friends and myself with people like that as well. I know exactly what you mean. It's just
like you can see the frustration. And that's like me as well. Like when I genuinely feel like a man in my circle isn't stepping up to the plate as a dad, and it may be because, you know what, they assume like the mum's got it. Like, oh, you know what, I'm cool. Like the mum looks after it. And I always say this: just because someone does something well, doesn't mean they haven't had to work hard to do that. Like you see Ronaldo plays football effortlessly, yeah, but bare training's gone into that. Like man's putting in a lot of effort. So when I think of like women, for example, I know there's mums out there that are making motherhood look easy, but it's still a struggle for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's men that I've known that will just be like, oh, she's got it.
Soft
I don't
life.
need to do anything because she's got it covered. And I'm like, just because she's got it covered doesn't mean she's not struggling, or doesn't mean that you don't have to have it covered. Like, so there's certain mindsets where I'm like, I don't agree with that, and it's gonna piss me off. So let me just come away from it.
But it says a lot about your values and like morals in life. If people don't align with yours, and you give them a chance and they're not adopting it, then it's like, then it don't serve me to keep you around me.
Which is why I said, like, if we're thinking about brotherhood, like, I think you need to know yourself first to know who you're gonna connect to.
Definitely.
Because if you don't know what you believe in, what your alignment is, you're just gonna attract a whole heap of different energy and whatever. So I think it's definitely important to know self.
I still believe that it's important to like love people from like arm's length, in the sense that you don't have to entirely align with someone's morals and values, but you can acknowledge that we know each other, we have history between each other, but we're just in different paths in life. And when I see you, I see you.
Yeah.
That's fine. There's peace in that. There's no beef. There's no, I don't like you, or I don't, F with you anymore. So you can maintain healthy relationships at arm's length. But the people you spend most of your time with. So whenever I speak to people and like, for example, someone tells me that, oh, this friend of mine did this to me, wronged me, has been abusing me for this length of time in our relationship, I'm like, okay, you don't have to cut the person off completely, but you can spend less time with that person.
Yeah.
So I think when you think about the amount of hours you spend a week with people, you got to ask yourself, the hours spent with these people, does it serve me? Does it help me grow?
Or does it make me feel a certain way? Because that's what we remember, the progress or how they made us feel, the happiness. And another thing that I was going to say is that sometimes we're attached to the good times. So that person can be detrimental to your
It's like
progress.
a relationship for real.
It
Like,
is.
But you're thinking about the good times, that time we went to that party, that rave, and it was really good and blah, blah. But then...
all 10 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. But it's been backwards since then. And you're still making an effort to just be there when you're not.
Some people's loyalty to people is based on like the one time that the person stopped me or joined my fight, for example.
Yeah.
And that person could be
I
bad
owe them.
for you.
I owe them forever now.
My loyalty is with you because you defended me in a time where, things got a bit violent and we got into a fight, and then they're just loyal to that person for life. And then it costs them, like, that person's literally your downfall. So sometimes you just have to question. I do believe in loyalty, but not at a cost to yourself. Like, hell
I remember
no.
hearing that you are a reflection of your environment, like, and they say like, show me the 5 people closest to you, and I'll show you who you are.
I
I've
totally
heard that
agree
saying,
with that.
I know,
I
And that to
totally-
me, I look at people sometimes, men and women, and I'm like, Red, that's your best friend.
Yeah.
Or Red, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Literally.
Like, I'm not. That's not.
Right.
That,
Each of their own,
yeah,
innit? You
yeah,
can have
yeah.
that. I'm
But that's
happy
your
that-
best friend. Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
person you spend most of your time with.
That,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
a madness in my head. I'm like, no, that's you, innit? That's calm. It's like, what you mean?
Because I'll be put off even with females. Like if I'm speaking to a woman or whatever, and I feel like, Rare, wait a minute, that's your best friend. Automatically, I'm thinking you're like that because you're saying that's your people's, and that's men as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, he's just done 10 years in prison. Like, all right. Like, no, yeah, all right.
I'm gonna put my trainers on and
Not to say that we judge people people that go to prison.
fully.
No, but what I'm saying is, if people in your circle are a certain type of way, I'm gonna naturally at some point think, all right, if those are your best people, yeah, there has to be a rub off. You have
Picked
to
up some sort of
like,
trait.
I don't know, like if all your best friends were footballers,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, you can play ball. I'll just assume, oh, you must be able to play. If those are the people you roll
Yeah.
with, you must play ball as well. So if you was like, no, I don't play ball, I'd be like, Rare.
But you're
That threw me off.
ballers.
So if the people you're hanging around with, I know, like, are on road causing trouble, I'm naturally gonna think, oh, you're a troublemaker.
Yeah, because there are moments in life where, you know, paths can cross, and although you're not living a certain type of life and they are, you can easily get caught into the mix just by just by association.
But association is different from best friends. Do you see what I'm saying?
Best friends is way more than association, and this is why it's very important to like just always review the people that you spend most of your time with. You know,
Get rid of dead weight.
A good way to wrap it up.
yeah.
Boy, we love Brotherhood, man. It's definitely built us into the men we are today. I feel like it's a good, let's say, foundation for a lot of, I feel like it's good for young men, to have some sort of brotherhood and build that into whatever they need to, or lead them to wherever they need to get to in life. And you don't have to stick with that one circle. You can get rid of dead weight. You can distance or disassociate yourself with certain people, and then add more people to your circle.
100%.
Doesn't have to be big, but
I'm mad grateful that you man came into my life. Like,
Yeah,
on a real, like I was
Vice
going
versa.
through a madness at the time, and you lot came into my life at the right time, brought the right energy, and I look at you as brothers.
Vice versa.
And yeah, man, I appreciate you all. Real talk.
Honestly, and it just goes to show that, you know, like in life, as you're growing as a man, and you know, you're in your journey in life, you can meet people that you've only known for like a year or 2 or 3, that you're on the same mission with, you feel like you're on the same team with, and this just goes to show that like we're doing it, we're living it, we really are. Yeah, no, so it's been great talking to you, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Subscribe, hit the like button, share this post. Thank you for tuning in.